Welcome to the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time.
Great day, everyone. It is time for the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Listen, we have a great show for you today, but first, let me give you the title. It's called Keep Your Head Up. Now, I want to talk about a couple of things today, but first, I want to talk to you about the International Space Station, and SpaceX just launched 4 new crew members to the space station outside of orbit. And every time that happens, I like to watch the whole entire process, because as I watch, I learn something new about the whole launch process. Although I don't know the preparation before the launch, but when they are actually the launch day, they give so many details, and they have many people who are working on assignment just for the launch, and they have to be very specific and very detailed. Technical, have to be alert. And I thought about the whole process, and as they are filming, this is the part that just interests me. They filmed the whole thing. It's being recorded, the whole process. They're going from Houston mission control, and then they are in Florida, and then you have ladies talking, you have people are being interviewed. This is the whole process of the lunch day when they are sending members to the space station. But one of the things that I really took notice of, not on this lunch, but the prior before, when they sent 5 crew members there, I watched the entire process from the beginning to the end. It was a long process, but I wanted to know the details and how this happens, because I'm not an expert in physics. But every time I watch a launch, I learn more and more about physics, and I learn about the perspective of my knowledge, and I just kind of add to it, because that's what you do in life. You take your knowledge, and as you read and as you experience things, you just add to your knowledge base, so it just expounds. So you're like comparison. You have to have something to comparison to understand what is actually happening, what is being presented to me, what am I learning here. But the NASA SpaceX International Station, it's just remarkable how the details in physics that you can actually send people outside of orbit. But I watched the rockets, and where they have to wear their suits as they getting on the the aircraft, and once they are so high up in the orbit or outside of orbit or the lower orbit, they have to wear that suit. And once they get past a certain level in the universe, then they're able to walk around in the aircraft and take off the suit, which amazes me. It amazes me because of the aptitude in which they are traveling to the space station does not affect their well-being. Probably it does in so many perspectives. It does. Because I remember one of the members ate something as they were going to the space station, and it did not do well for him. So the aptitude in that atmosphere has to be very gentle. But I don't want to just talk about that. I want to talk about the details in which they sending crew members to the space station. As I was watching the details, they are in this this aircraft. But when they finally got to the space station, and it takes exactly 29 hours from Earth to the space station outside of orbit, 29 hours. Now, it's 24 hours in a day, but it takes the rocket to reach the space station 29 hours. That right there it makes my mind think, what are they doing in 24 hours, and how are they coping, and do they have to go to the bathroom, those kind of things. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, what do? Do they have a bathroom on the aircraft going to That is so profound. And this podcast may not interest people, but it interests me because what our title today is Keep Your Head Up. And so I'm watching this aircraft, and you got the space station just up in the out of orbit. And so by the time the 29 hours has already passed, and now you see this vehicle. Now, I'm trying to draw a picture here. We see this vehicle coming from Earth. You got to understand there is no street signs in the universe. There is no lights in the universe. It's dark. And we have this aircraft, and it connects to this socket that is called the space station. And when it's coming to, they have determined the metrics where it is connected exactly to the space station. This is what just really profound to me and was interesting. They have it where they have calculated where the space station is, and then this aircraft, and it connects and it locks. No problems, no errors. It's exactly connecting. 29 hours traveling through the universe. Someone's calculating this aircraft to connect exactly to the aircraft, to the space station. And it connects. And they're showing this because they are recording it. And they're showing it. And once it connects, I'm assuming it turns and connects. And then they go through this process once the aircraft that's carrying the crew members connecting to a connection that's the space station. Then they go through this process where the equipment goes through this sealing moment where they have to make sure no outside atmosphere is in this aircraft, because it's a safety issue. We're talking about the universe. It's a totally different atmosphere than Earth. So it goes through this sealing of making sure that there's no atmosphere that's connected to the aircraft where the crew members is sitting. And before they can allow this second stage of the space station to be opened. So it goes through this process, elimination, sealing, and removing any kind of debris from the universe outside of this aircraft, okay? I'm explaining something here because I want to talk to you about that. There's 3 parts of the space station that this aircraft has to go through. And the very first part is when the crew members is connected to the outside. I would call that the outer court of the space station. It goes through the sealing moment where they're removing any kind of air or debris or atmosphere. And then once that has been determined, and the whole time this is happening in the universe, the people on the earth is seeing this process and monitoring the vehicle. This is in the universe, you guys. This is how advanced technology is, okay? So once it's sealed, then it goes through this middle section and to make sure that everything is sealed in that compartment. This is way before their living quarters. So it goes through this second stage where it goes through this sealing part, and they are monitoring to make sure. And once that is complete, and I'm just watching this and the details and listening to the people on the earth communicating the process, because you got to think about safety. This is something that you cannot be just careless about, sending people to the universe. You have to be so on point with your job. You have to be an engineer. Number one, you have to understand physics, and you have to be alert. There's no mistakes here. You can't even make any mistakes because you're putting people's lives in danger. Not just the people that they just sent to the space station, but the people who are living in the space station. And so once the second portion of the process has been eliminated, then they remove their uniforms, because once they docked to the space station, they have to place their uniforms back on. And once that is done, and then they go through the third section, which is the living quarters. And then they are greeted by the members that's already on the space station. And I sat there and I'm learning all of this. And I said, my goodness, I said, this is like the tabernacle. You have the outer courts, the inner courts, and the holy place. And let me explain the reason why I said that. And the outer courts is where, and I don't like to put religion with this, but this is how my mind start to understand the process of what they're doing. And when they dock to the space station, going through these 3 different segments, and I understood it as the outer courts, the holy place, and the holy of holies. And let me explain, because many people are not biblical inclined, but the outer courts is, when we talk about the tabernacle, the outer courts is where you go into this place and you're burning off all the excess stuff from the past, and you got to get rid of all the debris and all the flesh and all of these things before you can go into the next portion, which is the holy place. So to me, I was looking at that and I said, this is what they're doing when the crew members are connected to the outer courts. They have to make sure they seal out anything from the past where they just came from before they can go into the second stage, into this second place as a physical body. So that to me, I was comparing that to the tabernacle. Because once you go into the tabernacle, the outer courts, you get rid of all that debris, you get rid of all the flesh, and it's burning off all of these things off of you as an individual. Then you go into the holy place. And this is when I was looking at the space station, and this is the process. I was starting to understand in a literal term of what is happening with the space station, because honestly, these people are smart. They are beyond intelligent for me. That's how I was thinking. And I had to bring it into my understanding of what is going on in that process and break it down and then turn it back into physics. You have to have something to connect it to like, oh, okay, so this is what this is. And once you go into the tabernacle to the holy place is a place where they have the spiritual bread, and then they have the light, the candle, 7 candle lights, and then you have the aroma, which is like a praise type of thing. Aroma, you just praising, and the herbs is just giving off this wonderful smell. This is what's happening in the tabernacle. And so when I looked at the space station, when they're going through the second part, it is such a similar type way that they go in and start to process and prepare the people to be living on a place where other crew members, because they can nothing be out of the norm when they enter into the living quarters. And I sat there, I said, really, life is pretty much the same thing. And I'm starting to, the older I get, I'm starting to understand that there is a base a foundation in which we live, and it's all pretty much the same, but is described different. And that's how I perceived it. Somebody else may perceive that whole process in another explanation, but I saw it because I was familiar with the tabernacle and what it takes, the details, because you couldn't go through the next part until the first part is concealed, made ready. You just can't just bring baggage into the tabernacle from the outer courts, into the holy place. And it was the same thing with the space station. So I understood. I said, okay, this is very important. This is very important that they have to do this. I learned so much, and I learned a lot of things in that whole process. And once they are in the living quarters, it just amazed me how they can live there, because you have to think about, your hygiene and all of that. I haven't gotten into that part, and I'm maybe researching how they are able to do that in the universe, But I just wanted to share that today within our podcast, because I don't know if anyone is interested in understanding and watching the launch, because it's fascinating. You can learn so much in your everyday life. Wherever you are in your life, you can learn something about that whole process. Because when we talk about the unbelievable things that happens during this process, it's an unbelievable thing. It will open up your mind to give you a whole nother perspective while we're living in the earth. Because I can guarantee one thing, that the people who are at the space station, they're not concerned about all this stuff. I mean, I'm not going to say they're not concerned about all the things that's going on in the earth, but that is not their mission. Their mission is whatever is their assignment. The latest 4 crew members that just been launched to the space station, they are working on research while they are there. Research on medical things and how things are activated in the universe. They are unaware of what's happening here in the earth. They are focusing on what their assignment is while they're there. I'm not sure. I think that the new 4 crew members is going to be at the space station doing research. Probably 6 months to 9 months. That's a long extended time to be there, but I hear they're very busy. They have a schedule. It's like a job. They have lunchtime and they have break time, and it's just amazing, you guys. You can go on YouTube and watch the latest launch, sending the 4 crew members on YouTube. But I expressed that you would take the time out and watch it from the beginning to the end. And if you're having difficulties, trying to make decisions and all that, sometimes those situations where you're looking at another perspective will give you the answers that you need. Because every time, like I stated, that I watch this launch, when they sending crew members, or when they're sending rockets to launch satellites, it just expounds my mind to another perspective of our world. And NASA and SpaceX and the International Station, they are our world, even though that we're not paying attention. But I want you to take the time out to take a look at it and just watch it. Sit down with your family and have them to watch what is happening. It gives you another whole understanding about how his internet is connected, how Google is able to see everyone, and in their Google Map, where you can just find anything in the earth. This would give you a whole nother perspective and understanding, and it definitely would expound your mind how satellites are just being launched, and we're able to connect to internet wireless, and just give you another perspective. And I'm sure many of you who are going to listen to this podcast says, I already know this, I already know that. Well, okay, great. I already know it too, but I watch it every week when they go on lunch. It never gets old to me, because like I stated, that every time I watch this whole entire process, there's like nuggets that drops into me, and the amazement of the people who are operating. And by the way, you guys, and I know a lot of people are just excited that Black people are doing amazing things. Right now, they have a Black young lady that is living on the space station. And she is, I know, I saw when they sent the 4 new crew members and the people who are already living there. I noticed, I said, oh my goodness, I didn't know a Black girl was on the station. And I said, I don't even know when she got there. But I saw her there. So NASA is doing amazing things, and I don't. Their qualifications. Do you qualify to be there? What skills and knowledge that you can be a part of this space station, and to assist us in our research and our study over the earth and things that we're needing in the earth to maintain a healthy earth and for humanity. But I just wanted to leave that nugget also to let you know that there is an African American girl or a black female that is on and a part of the space stations for NASA. Just wanted to leave that part to those who are not familiar, but they are doing wonderful things, and I just, express that you take the time out and just kind of watch it, But really, that's how I wanted to talk about today. Is our title is Keep Your Head Up. And you're probably saying, what does this have to do with what I'm talking about? Because the whole process in NASA and doing research, they keep their head up in the universe as they are monitoring and doing what they're supposed to be doing, because that's what they are supposed to be doing. And they're not distracted by anything. Even during the whole launch, those people are not distracted about anything except monitoring the safety, the health, the being cautionary. And it's just on point. Everything that they do is like on point, and it just amazes me. And I want you to be amazed as well. But listen, you guys, this is the end of our podcast. I just wanted to share that experience from what I have perceived. And, you go ahead and watch it and send me an email or let me know what you perceived out of the whole and total process of them sending crew members to the space station. What did you observe? And what did you learn from it to help your personal life to go forward? It's amazing. And I definitely believe that you will have some type of nugget that you can apply in your life from that experience. But listen, you guys, thank you for joining us this week. And again, our title is Keep Your Head Up. And I want you to have a great rest of the month. This is your girl, Sonya Buchanan, with the Sonya Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Keep your head up. Bye, you guys.
Today's show is sponsored by Comforting Promises Broadcast, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Be sure to visit our author page and pick up our latest books, Notes, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, filled with inspirational quotes that will get you through the day. Thank you for joining our podcast today. The podcast was produced and edited by Sonya Buchanan. For more information about the host, you can go to sonyabuchanan.com. For information about Comforting Promises broadcast community, you can go to comfortingpromises.com. Thank you for listening to our broadcast, The Sonya Buchanan Show, where we focus on one life, one smile at a time. Until next time, bye you guys.